March 31st, 2026, 4:23 in the morning Eastern Time. A software engineer posting from a lab in San Francisco sends a single message to X. The post contains a direct link, and within hours, 500,000 lines of code belonging to one of the most valuable AI companies on Earth are spreading across the internet. No hacker, no 0 day, no nation state. Just a single file left in the wrong place. To understand why this incident sent shockwaves through the tech industry, you need to understand what actually was exposed. Claude Code is Anthropic's flagship AI coding agent, a command line tool that can write software, debug code, manage files, and execute complex multi-step tasks with minimal human supervision. It's not a chatbot. It's closer to an autonomous engineering assistant. At the time of the leak, Claude Code alone had achieved an annualized recurring revenue of $2.5 billion, a figure that had more than doubled since the beginning of the year. With enterprise clients accounting for the vast majority of Anthropic's business, this product wasn't just a technical achievement. It was the engine of the company's growth. And now, its entire architecture was sitting in a public zip file on the internet. The leak didn't happen because someone broke in. It happened because of a mistake in how code gets packaged for release. Here's how it works. When developers write software, they often write it in a human-readable language, in this case, TypeScript. Before shipping to users, that code gets bundled, compressed, and obfuscated into something machines run efficiently. But during development, engineers use what's called source map files, essentially a translation layer that links the bundled, unreadable code back to the original source, so that when something breaks, you can actually diagnose it. Making these map files essential eternally, meaning they're never supposed to ship to the public. On March 30th, 2026, a 59.8 megabyte JavaScript source map file, a .map extension, was inadvertently bundled into version 2.1.88 of Anthropic's Claude Code package, pushed live to NPM, the public registry that developers worldwide use to download software tools. That source map file contained a reference pointing to a zip archive hosted on Anthropic's own Cloudflare cloud storage bucket, and that archive was publicly accessible. Anyone who found the file could pull the entire codebase, and very quickly, someone did. By 4:23 a.m. Eastern, Xiaofeng Xu, an intern at a blockchain infrastructure firm called Solaire Labs, had broadcast a discovery to the public. The post included a direct download link to a hosted archive. It was a digital flare. Within hours, the codebase was mirrored and dissected across GitHub, quickly amassing thousands of stars. The developer community moved faster than Anthropic's own incident response team. By the time the company had a full picture of what happened, the code had already been forked tens of thousands of times and analyzed by engineers around the world. Within hours of the discovery, the roughly 512,000-line TypeScript codebase was mirrored across GitHub and examined by thousands of developers. The toothpaste was not going back in the tube. So what exactly did the world just get a look at? The tech community immediately went to work cataloging what had been exposed, and the findings were significant. One of the most significant takeaways for competitors involved how Anthropic had solved what engineers called context entropy, the tendency for AI agents to become confused or begin generating inaccurate output as long-running sessions accumulate more and more information. This is one of the hardest unsolved problems in building reliable AI agents, and Anthropic's internal solution was now visible to everyone. The leak revealed a feature called KAIROS, a system designed to allow Claude Code to function as an always-on background agent. When a user steps away, KAIROS enters what Anthropic internally called auto-dream mode, consolidating memory, resolving contradictions, and refining vague observations into structured facts, all while the main agent continues uninterrupted. The source code confirmed internal development code names: Capybara for our Claude 4.6 variant, Fennec for Opus 4.6, and a model called Numbat, still in testing and not yet released to the public. And then there was undercover mode. This feature revealed that Anthropic uses Claude Code to make what the company calls stealth contributions to public open source repositories. The system prompt embedded in the leak explicitly instructs the model, "You are operating undercover. Your comment message must not contain any Anthropic internal information. Do not blow your cover." That detail landed hard in the developer community. An AI company, one built on a foundation of safety and transparency, quietly deploying its own AI agent to contribute to open source projects without disclosure. Anthropic says this was internal testing, colloquially called dogfooding. Critics called it something else entirely. Anthropic moved quickly to contain the damage. The company issued a statement acknowledging the incident, describing it as a release packaging issue caused by a human error, not a security breach, and they confirmed that no customer data or credentials were exposed. But the containment effort created a second crisis. Anthropic filed a DMCA takedown notice with GitHub, a standard legal mechanism for removing infringing intellectual property, and that notice was executed against approximately 8,100 repositories. The problem? The takedown swept up legitimate forks of Anthropic's own publicly released Claude Code repository, catching developers who had nothing to do with the leaked source code at all. The backlash was immediate and loud. Anthropic's head of Claude Code acknowledged the error and retracted the bulk of the takedown notices, ultimately limiting the action to a single repository and 96 forks directly tied to the accidentally released source. The company explained that the original repository named in the notice was part of a fork network connected to Anthropic's own public Claude Code repository, which had caused the takedown to reach far more repositories than intended. 2 mistakes in 48 hours, 1 technical and 1 legal. It would be easy to frame the story as simply an embarrassing stumble by a high-profile company. A developer forgot a flag in a config file, code got out, story over. But that misses the deeper lesson. The leak provided competitors with a detailed, unreleased feature roadmap, a clear picture of how Anthropic is building towards longer autonomous tasks, deeper memory, and multi-agent collaboration. Those capabilities are central to Anthropic's enterprise strategy and its plans to go public. For a company currently riding a meteoric rise, with reported annualized revenue of $19 billion as of early 2026, the leak was more than a security lapse. It was a strategic hemorrhage of intellectual property. And there's a supply chain dimension too. Once a codebase is publicly exposed and studied, its attack surface expands. Researchers immediately connected the leak to existing CVEs, or documented vulnerabilities in Claude Code, noting that the exposed source makes exploitation research significantly cheaper and faster for anyone with malicious intent. As one security analyst noted in his breakdown of the incident, a single misconfigured npm ignore or files field in a package JSON can expose everything. One file, one omission, 500,000 lines. Security professionals will tell you that the most sophisticated perimeter defense in the world cannot protect against a tired engineer who ships the wrong file at 2 in the morning. This wasn't a nation-state attack. There was no spear phishing campaign, no compromised credential, and no supply chain intrusion. A file used internally for debugging was accidentally bundled into a routine update and pushed to the public registry that developers use worldwide to download and update software packages. That's the threat model most organizations are the least prepared for. Not the adversary with resources and motive, the trusted insider who just makes a mistake. As AI companies scale at unprecedented speed, shipping updates constantly, managing enormous code bases, onboarding new engineers, the probability of exactly this kind of error doesn't decrease, it multiplies. Anthropic survived the leak. The company still holds its position at the frontier of AI development. No customer was harmed, no credentials were stolen. But the incident exposed something more than source code. It exposed the gap between how we talk about AI safety and how these companies actually operate under pressure. The processes, the packaging pipelines, the publication checks. The places where a single human decision can unwind years of competitive advantage in a matter of hours. The code is out there. It's been forked. It's been studied. And the engineers building the next generation of AI coding agents have a very detailed blueprint to work from. The irony isn't lost on anyone. The company whose safety-first mission underpins its entire brand had its most valuable product exposed to the world, not by a hacker, by itself. This has been ThreatFiles, your root access to the truth. If you want more real cybersecurity stories explained in simple terms, subscribe or drop a comment on what you think we should cover here at ThreatFiles. See you in the next file.